Hi there, welcome to the channel. My name's Teresa and I'm so pleased that you're joining me here at Teresa Joy Fine Art, which is your go-to spot for relaxing step-by-step drawing tutorials that you can follow along with in real time. Today I've got a lovely project to share with you. I'll be showing you exactly how to draw this adorable Jack Russell Terrier from start to finish. Whether you're just getting into drawing or whether you've been at it for a while, you're in the right place. I'll guide you through every line and every shape, nice and slow, so that you can draw along with me. So grab your pencils, get comfy, and let's get started. So let's have a look at this side of the face. So we've got our line drawing in there. I'm just going to take the kneadable eraser and just very gently dab into this line drawing again. Now I don't want to take all of it off, and I want to try and leave some of it on so that you can see where it is on the camera as well. You know, I would probably take a little bit more of this off if I wasn't trying to record it, but hopefully you can just about see the lines there. And then what I'm going to do is use the warm grey one again, and just like before, we're going to put some base layer in there. So here's the line between the orange and the brown colour. Let's just have a look at this bit first. Let's just get some base layer in. I'm using backwards and forward strokes, whatever works for you, as long as you've got a nice even base layer. That's the important bit. And actually, as I work down under the eye, I'm just going to work in with circular strokes and just create little wispy bits into this. It's quite feathered here, isn't it? So I'm just going to create little wispy bits into that. There we go. There's a triangle here on the line drawing, and that represents these lovely wispy bits that are going to come over off the orange bit into the white section. So I'm just going to leave that for the minute. I'm just going to work up to the edge of that. Okay, so we've got the warm grey one in. I'm going to use a little bit of burnt ochre and bring a bit of burnt ochre over into this base layer as well. So I'm just going to work all the way over. And there is quite a fine line between the burnt ochre 10%. This is burnt ochre 10% from the luminance. Quite a fine line between the burnt ochre 10% and the brown ochre, actually. So if you didn't have the burnt ochre, you could just use the brown ochre, maybe put a little bit of the beige red, you know, a little bit of the pink colour or a pink colour into it to just tip it towards peach. But it's, in some areas it looks quite peachy, and then in other areas it looks a little bit more like the brown ochre colour. So, but you know, there are so many ways to mix a colour. If you don't have the pencils that I've got, it really doesn't matter. Just go with what you've got. And if you don't have this burnt ochre, just go with a little bit of the beige red. We're just bringing the beige red from the polychromos, that is, or any sort of light pink that you've got. That's all I'm trying to do. Just bring a little bit of a very light sort of muted pink. So not a really bright pink, just a just a muted pink into this space to just tip it towards peach a little bit. It will sort of become quite peachy once we've got the burnt ochre from the polychromos in. This is a little white patch here, so I'm just going to leave that. There we go. So we've got some base layer in there. And then what I need to do is come in with the, this is the burnt ochre from the polychromos, but any sort of earthy, rusty orange colour that you'd got from before. And I just want to start to think about bringing some of this colour in, mixing the colours. So we're back to, if I come back to my piece of paper, we're back to this sort of moving backwards and forwards with the pencil on the paper, just starting to put a little bit of direction in here and there, and just starting to map things out again. So I'm just going to map sections out. I'm just going to work up to this line here. Just work down the edge. It's quite an orange colour right on the edge around here, isn't it? Down here. curving it around. But I keep my pencil on the paper because it helps me to put the colour down faster, and I don't need to get any wispy edges on the edge of pencil strokes at the minute. I don't need to sort of try and get that in. I don't need to make things refined. So it works for me to just keep my pencil on the paper with a nice even pressure to get a nice even coverage. I'm just going to work around here. Now this is where I will start to lift my pencil off the paper because I want to start to think about getting some wispy bits. So just sketching in some little sketchy bits around here. Already starting to plot in the edge of that nose there. I'm going to work back to this bit around here. This is going to go a little bit darker. In fact, the side of the eye is going to go quite dark, isn't it? I'm going to bring the burnt ochre, sorry. Bring the burnt ochre all the way down to the edge of this eye. It's going to go much darker. And take it over the top. So I'm using this colour, which is quite it's quite a light colour. If I need to adjust it, I can adjust it. But I'm using this colour to start to plot these shapes in and just start to look around the reference photograph and to get a feel of what I'm going to need to do. So as I'm looking around the reference photograph, I'm looking for colours that I might need, that I can see, that, you know, I've spotted, looking for directions, looking for shapes. They're the sort of things that I'm looking at when I'm getting these underlayers in and sort of starting to plot things in. You can see that I'm sort of very gently plotting the side of the eye in here, bringing that around, and then obviously it works off. Now we've got this dark bit. I'm just gonna put a line there to plot that in. That's all really dark under there, and then very gently you can see that the fur works around this way. The only important thing is that I don't get really, really heavy pencil lines in there, because if I do, it's going to be really, really hard to try and blend them out. So I'm just working into this little shape right on the side of the face here. Working down that line. And we've got a little bit right on the edge, so I'm just getting that marked in. Sometimes just a sweep of the pencil is all you can get in, but starting to build that cheek up. There we go. There we go. We've got some really dark colours that are going to come into the edge of this eye now, and I want to build them up quite slowly. So this is the warm grey 2. I'm going to work around this eyelid. I'm going to get some colour in around the eyelid and down the side of the eye, so that I've got something to start to work these dark colours into. I'm also going to work underneath. This is that bit that I've just said is going to go really quite dark, but I'm just going to come in with the warm grey 2. It helps to fill that grain in, gives me something start to work those dark colours into. So there we go. So I'm working light to dark, obviously. I'm going to get a little bit darker and a little bit darker until I've got to the depth that I want around the eye, or the darkness that I want around the eye. This is the burnt sienna, and I'm going to start to think about shaping around the eye. So I am using pencil strokes that flick off at the end now, because I can see there's some wispiness coming in with this colour. thinking about the direction of the fur. Now I don't have to get it absolutely right first time. I'm plotting it in lightly, I'm thinking about that direction, but there's still lots of opportunity for me to adjust it, to just push the pencil in a different direction with subsequent layers. I don't need to go erasing stuff. I don't need to, you know, take something out because I feel a pencil mark or a shape's gone in the wrong direction. I can just start to work over it and work in a different direction over the top. This is really quite dark on the bottom down here, or on the side. So I'm bringing it all the way down, almost to the edge of the eye. I want to keep that lovely grey that's on the edge of the eye there, that grey that we've just put in. So I'm going to bring that down here. And then right on the bottom, underneath, start to work out and onto the cheek, so it just very gently comes down and starts to curve out towards the edge of this cheek. And then just going to think about some wispy bits as well, right in the corner. Not much, just think about a few wispy bits. I'm going to just bring a little bit of this burnt sienna right into this side of the cheek as well. So right up against the cheekbone, it's going to go a little bit darker. So I'm just going to bring a little bit of this burnt sienna in and start to darken down the side of this cheekbone. So I've put the colour in on the side and then just very gently just dragging the pencil over to bring it into the sort of next layer of the face, as it were, the layer that's in front. That's going to go quite dark all the way around there. And there's no space in there, so just a sweep of the pencil is all I can get into that. It is right that, you know, you should always try and draw something in the way that it goes or that it grows. You should do that, but sometimes it's just not possible. Sometimes all you can get in is a sweep of the pencil, and it doesn't really matter because you can't see any direction in there anyway. Things need to go the way that they grow or grow. That's important if you can sort of see that direction, you know, but when all you can get in is a sweep of the pencil. It's fine. I'm not going to sit there, you know, sort of trying to get lots of little fur strokes in there because there's nothing you can see anyway. You just can't see it. So a sweep of the pencil's all I need. Okay. And then let's just carry on with this burnt sienna around here. Bring this in. So the pencil strokes here are going the way that the furs, in this case it's growing, you know, but growing or going. Follow that round in the way that the fur's coming around, come around the side. I want to just come back and blend this a little bit, and I'm going to bring a little bit of pink in to blend it, just to bring that peachiness through. So this is the cinnamon, bringing that cinnamon in. And I don't want to go really heavy-handed with it. I just want to use it to just fill in a little bit of the grain and just add a little bit of pink into the space. Bring a bit of the cinnamon down here on the edge of this cheek. That's quite pink down there. There we go. So I'm going to come back in and I'm going to darken the eye a bit more. This time I'm going to come in with the burnt umber, and I'm going to bring this burnt umber on the top of this eye up here. Just using those directional strokes to work down the side of the eye. Now, I'm just going to make sure that I don't go over that line there, because that's obviously the eyelid. That's going to go quite blue and black. I'm going to put the Payne's grey and I'll put the black in there. But I just want to put that line in just to make sure that I don't go covering that line up. But I can bring the burnt ochre, the brown, over the top and then curve it around. Same down here, where I've put that grey, I'm not going to take this burnt umber past that grey. I'm just going to work it into the edge. That really is the edge of the eye, and I don't want to take the brown into that, but I do want to just gently curve it around. Looks a little bit strange again, you know, we've got a lot of layers to go down in there, so we're not going to do it all in one go. Got my pencil tipped over on the side a little bit so that I can get a nice, quite a natural curve with the pencil. I don't want the curves to be forced. I don't want them to be too tight. I just want the pencil strokes to just sort of flow, really. Just darkening it down a little bit at a time. I'm going to work off underneath the eye as well. The eye looks really quite strange because we need to blend the eyeball into the rest of the fur. Once it's blended in, it will look a lot better. And I think this is something that's quite important to do with when you are drawing, that, you know, that really does look quite strange, that eye. It needs a lot of blending, obviously, to bring it into the face. But the important thing is to just sort of isolate what you're looking at on the reference photograph and just look for those shapes in whatever it is you're looking at, and just understand that, you know, things do look a little bit strange sometimes until they're actually put in context. But don't worry about it. It will sort itself out. Things don't need to look right or correct right from the outset. I think that's really quite important for me to, you know, try and stress. Things don't look right from the outset, but they will come together and they will look right at the end. And we don't need to put our pencils down, and we don't need to finish this drawing until we're happy that it looks right. We can just keep working on it. You know, we don't need to call a drawing finished until we want to call it finished. Let's just bring a little bit of the burnt umber around the side. I'm just looking for areas where I can see that it's going darker. So just bringing that in on the side there. I'll just keep working over and over until I've got to the saturation of colour that I want on the page. Already I can see that we've started to build in a little bit of structure, a little bit of form and shape to the dog's head. Still got a way to go, but it's definitely getting there. I'm just going to bring this darker bit around here. Just on the back of the eye here, I'm going to bring in the Payne's Grey, and I'm going to start to blend the back of the eye in by just starting on this line that I've just been talking about and just very gently flicking that pencil out in the direction that I can see the furs going, so out towards the edge of the eye. Let's just bring this down here as well. This little bit up here, it's got to go darker, hasn't it? So I'm going to get some base layers in and I'm going to work in with the darker bits so that I know how dark to take this around the eyes. So I'm going to use the warm grey one to start with, and I'm going to get a nice base layer working up towards the top of the face, towards the top of the head. Just bring that around. Now this bit here, this little line here, this is sort of the division. What's above it is actually, it is the top of the head, but it's going up into the ear. So I'm just going to dab out the pencil lines, the graphite pencil lines. And then bring the warm grey one around the top. So I've got this line here, it's just very gently plotted in, but I'm going to work over and into this ear. I'm just going to bring a bit of the warm grey one over. So remember what is above this line here, which you can just about see on the camera. I can see it on the page, you can just about see it. It's on that line drawing that I gave you. So what's above it is the ear and what's below it is the face. I'm also going to bring in a little bit of the cold grey one, and this bit around here I'm going to bring in some of this cold grey one just to tip the base layer around here towards a slightly colder colour, and I'm just going to take a little bit of this cold grey one over here as well, just blend this in. There we go. So just got a little bit of base layer in there. Just like before, I'm going to come in with the burnt umber from the Polychromos, and with these backwards and forwards pencil strokes, I'm going to work up towards the top of the head. Just getting a little bit of colour in, remembering to just start to bring these pencil strokes around towards the outside of the head. It's going to go quite dark, obviously, but we have got a little bit of this lovely burnt orange colour coming through. So I'm just going to bring that around. I'm going to work over that line that I said was that division between the bit that goes up into the ear. So I am going to work over the top of it, but I still just want to keep that line in my mind so that I know that it's there. I'm keeping the pencil on the paper. You can see that I'm bringing a little bit of texture in. There's a bit of texture there that's starting to form, but I am keeping my pencil on the paper. I don't need any wispy pencil strokes, not for this bit. And then I just want to make sure that it obviously blends in with this lovely orange bit that we've got around the eye. There we go. So we've started to get a bit of orange in there, a bit of the burnt ochre in there. Just like before on the other side, around here we've got a little bit of blue that comes through the black here. This is back to the light ultramarine, and I'm going to bring a bit of blue through this space. It's just a dusting of colour. I don't need to get too much in there. I'm going to just very gently let that blue go over and into the white section. And actually it joins up, pretty much joins up here. So I'm just going to bring this bit over as well. Let's get a little bit of it in there. I'll go back and add a bit more dark on this side because I've just put the blue in, and it's a bit too blue. I need to bring the darker colours through, but I can do that afterwards. Let's just bring the blue back down here. Don't want to bring too much in, it's just a dusting of the blue. Really, really light pressure to put that pencil down. And then I'm going to start to darken this area down a little bit more. Now I'm not going to go straight into the greys and the dark sepia and the black yet. I'm going to use a little bit of the burnt sienna. I'm just using directional pencil strokes and just lifting that pencil off at the end of the pencil stroke to get a few little wispy bits in here. Just darkening down. I'm just looking for areas that I can see the orange brown colour is a bit stronger than that burnt ochre, so I'm just bringing this through. This is going to go quite dark under this ear, but I am bringing some of the browns through first, this burnt sienna colour. I'm just going to switch to circular strokes right underneath here because it goes really quite sort of soft and fuzzy right under this ear. So I'm just going to let that burnt sienna pencil, I'm just going to put that burnt sienna pencil down with some circular strokes. It's going to go much, much darker in this bit here. I'm going to darken down this a little bit on top. I'm going to come in with the Cold Grey 5 from the Polychromos, and I'm going to start to think about darkening down this top bit now. I want to sort of get the dark bit in before I build this area up too much more, and then I lose the shape that I want to create with the dark pencils. So let's bring the Cold Grey 5 down the side of this shape. Again, I'm just going to let it work its way over towards the shape that's on the other side, but it needs to be really nice and soft and fuzzy. So it's just little scribble strokes. That's all I can really get in up here, just little scribble strokes. I will just go and top this up because I put a bit more blue in there, didn't I? Top that shape up, there we go. And then back to this side. All the time, just using a light pressure. I don't want to press on hard. I know I say this all the time, but I don't want to press on hard. I just want to use a nice light pencil stroke. I'm putting the dark or the grey down, the darker grey down, but you can still see the orange brown colour coming through the fur. When I get up onto this darker bit up here, I am very slightly lengthening the pencil strokes because the fur looks a little bit longer up here. So I want to match the length of those pencil strokes with the length of the fur. So you can see I've got some slightly longer bits coming through. And I'm going to bring this dark bit all the way down to the top of this eye socket here. So I'm going to bring it all the way down to this bit right on the edge, the top of this eye socket, and then start working the pencil. Again, sort of over the top of the eye socket, following round the top of that eye socket. By the time we get to the edge of the dog here, the sort of angle of the fur, it gets quite flat, doesn't it? I'm working on with quite a flat angle here, whereas we were working up here, it sort of comes over quite flat. So I'm going to work with quite a flat angle around the top of this eye socket, and then as we start to come over the eye socket, it starts to go a little bit steeper again. And I am looking at those angles every couple of seconds and keeping those pencil strokes just a little bit longer. And I want the two areas to blend in as well. Even though we've got the darker bit and then the lighter bit, I want to just make sure that I feed the dark bit down into the light bit every now and again so that it looks like we're actually blending the two areas together. We don't want a sharp line between those two areas. So all I'm doing is just sort of bringing, it's obviously much easier to bring the dark colour down into the light colour because the darker pencil will go over the lighter one much easier. So I'm just feeding this dark colour down and into that light section. And then it goes a little bit more solid. Up here the colour goes a bit more solid, so I'm just keeping the pencil strokes a bit closer together and I'll get more of a solid pencil line. And then I must remember that as I come into this light section, this little white stripe, I need to really let go of that pressure. Not that there's any pressure going down anyway, but I need to reduce that pressure even more and just tap in some really, really soft pencil lines to just represent the little shadows that are down between the lighter bits of fur, and that's what's going to create the volume in the light fur. We're not drawing the white fur, we're just drawing the shadows that are down in between those little white hairs, and that will create the volume, and it will actually draw the white fur or the light fur. There we go. I've got the darker bit in here. I want to make this darker still. This is the burnt umber, and I'm going to use the burnt umber with little circular strokes, work along this edge of this ear and get a little bit of darker pencil right on the edge. I've got the pencil tipped over on the side, so I can't really get pressure down. I don't want to get the pressure down, I just want to get a nice even coverage of this burnt umber, whatever dark brown you're using. I've gone for the burnt umber. I think I said earlier I've gone for the burnt umber because whenever I've got oranges in a drawing, I always sort of think of the burnt umber because it's got those lovely orangey undertones, those yellow orange undertones. So I find that's quite useful to think of the burnt umber and to use the burnt umber when I've got these lovely burnt ochre colours in the fur. I'm just getting a nice dark bit of colour in there. I'm also just going to use a little bit of this burnt umber around here as well. Bring a bit of the burnt umber around the side of this eye, start darkening down the side of this eye now. So I'm just curving it around over this eye socket. We've got this lovely top of the eye socket that's just going around, curving out towards the edge of the face. I'm going to bring it all the way down the side of the eye. Curving it around the side of this eye. What I'm also going to do is to just use this Cap at Autumn Violet again, and up the top up here I can see that there's a little bit more of a red colour that comes through this brown, so I'm going to put that over the top of that burnt umber and just really intensify that and make these lovely red tones come through, pinky red tones come through the top of that eye there. There we go. I'm also going to bring in a little bit of the burnt umber down here. I'm just looking, whilst I've got this pencil in my hand, I'm just going to work around the section that I'm actually working on. Just look around the section that I'm working on and just see where else I might be able to bring in a bit of this colour. And I can definitely see a little darker bit that's coming down here. I can see a little bit that's coming down the side down here. Just carefully create some wispy bits right on the edge of the nose. And to create these wispy bits, I want to sort of flick the pencil into the nose so that I get the lovely, the feathered effect coming down into the white part of the nose. I don't want to put too much burnt umber in here or I'm going to lose the lovely orange colours. So I can always come back and put more in as well. I'm just having a look and I can see a little darker bit around here. So bringing that through. And just remembering to feather it in to the lighter section. Taking that right the way up here. There we go. Okay, I want to just blend what's here a bit now. So I'm going to use the ivory and I'm going to bring the ivory around this lovely light patch here. Just blend what's there. Take it over the top. There we go. And I'm also going to use a little bit of the burnt ochre, 10%, just to put a bit of the peachiness in here and then. If you didn't have this, you could just use your beige red, just to put a little bit of the pink in. Bring a bit of the pink through. And And that's it for this part of the tutorial. Thanks so much for drawing along with me. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next part of our Jack Russell project. I'll be back soon with the next video, but if you're itching to start another drawing in the meantime, head over to my website or check out my Patreon page. You'll find lots more tutorials and exclusive projects waiting for you there. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.